Okay. So what are the learning objectives? You will be able to understand the concept of uninformed search. Okay. So first of all, what is the meaning of uninformed search? Why do we need uninformed search? And the concept of this uninformed search. Then apply various techniques of uninformed search on various applications. Okay, you'll be in a position to apply these techniques for various applications. Okay. So coming to search, what is a search? So it is something like this. I've just drawn, I've gone to second slide. Okay. So this is the initial state. Okay, so this is the initial state. You are here now, right? And this is the goal state. Goal state is somewhere here. Okay. So you have to start from initial state and you have to reach the goal state. Okay. Sometimes you will be knowing a lot of information about the goal state. You'll have a lot of information. The knowledge will be there about the environment, about the conditions. Okay. All these techniques, all these conditions you may be knowing, or sometimes you may not be knowing anything. Okay. So how to, you have to just start from initial state. You have to go to a goal state. So how you are going to perform the search? Okay. That is under that category, we have two techniques. Okay. One is uninformed search. That is whatever we are going to discuss today. That is uninformed search. And the other one is informed search. Okay. Today we are going to discuss uninformed search. So we call it as blind search. Okay, we call it as blind search or brute force search. So why we call it as blind search? Because you do not have any domain specific knowledge. Okay, the first point is you do not have any domain specific knowledge. That is why we call it as blind search. And we also call it as brute force search. The reason is simple. You don't know the search you are carrying out is right or wrong. You don't know whether it is efficient or not. Okay. That is why we call it as brute force search. So uninformed search, it is a blind search or brute force search. You do not have any extra information. You don't know whether it is right or wrong. You don't know whether it is efficient or not. But based on certain algorithms, you are going to do the search and you're going to reach the goal state. Okay, you're going to reach the goal state based on some predefined, prefixed algorithms. Okay. So another one is informed search. This we'll be studying later, maybe in our next class. It is basically heuristic search. Okay, it's very, very interesting. In artificial intelligence, this search matters a lot. Okay, informed search or heuristic search. This we will discuss in our next class, or we don't know. Okay, maybe we are going to study this heuristic search in detail in our AI course. Okay. So next slide. Before I explain this uninformed search, some terms I will tell you. Okay, so the one is state. All of you know what a state is. It provides all the information about the environment. Okay, start state, goal state. So you will get the information about the environment. Then what is goal state? You know. Okay, so this is where we have to reach. Then goal test. Goal test is, it's a test to determine whether a particular state is goal state or not. Okay, that is goal test. Then path or step cost. So these are some integers that represents the cost to move from one node to another node. From one node to another node. So two important terms, space complexity and time complexity. If you people have studied data structures and algorithms, you would have studied these two things there. Okay, what is space complexity? It's a function describing the amount of space, okay, or memory An algorithm takes in terms of input to the algorithm. What is the space complexity? What is the time complexity? These are the two important terminologies in any algorithm we design. These are the, we have to clearly mention what is the space complexity and time complexity. Okay. So when it comes to time complexity, it's a function describing the amount of time the algorithm takes in terms of input to the algorithm. Okay. So it is in terms of the amount of time the algorithm takes. Okay. Then optimal, of course, whenever we design something, we say whether it is optimal or not. Okay. And whenever we consider trees, so what B normally it is the branching factor, or D is for the depth, and M is for the maximum depth state fit. Normally, I mean, maximum could be, or it is infinity. Okay. This I will tell you about BD when I explain you next algorithm. Okay. So based on these knowledge, the initial state, goal state, path cost, space complexity, and time complexity. Let me go to the next slide where I will be discussing about different uninformed search strategies. Okay. Yeah, I have come to the next slide. Here, I hope all of you are able to see the uninformed search, the different approaches. Okay, just see once what are the different approaches we have. Okay, so the first one is we call it as breadth first search. Second one is a depth first search. Then third one is uniform cost search. Next is bidirectional search. Okay. Then we have depth limited and iterative deepening search. Okay. So I'll be discussing these four search strategies in detail. Okay. What is BFS? What is DFS? What is uniform cost search? And what is bidirectional search? How these search strategies matter when you are given a graph or a tree, how you are going to do the search techniques from if you are given a start node, and if you want to reach any node, it may be mentioned it's a goal node, or it may not be mentioned. So how to find out a particular node using these techniques, I will explain. Okay. So I have gone to next slide. Here I am discussing a breadth first search. Okay. So it's a basic technique of traversing a graph. Okay. Is breadth first search or BFS. It first finds the shortest path always. However, this might also lead to using more memory. This is one important point. The state space is shown in the form of a tree or graph in this type of search. So what is the meaning is, okay, it is one of the simplest techniques in algorithms, breadth first search. It will give you the shortest path. However, the usage of memory is more. Okay, usage of memory is more. So here in this algorithm, that space complexity, when you find out that matters a lot here. Okay, space complexity. So here you will be given tree or graph for the analysis. Okay, tree or graph. One can obtain the solution by traversing through the tree or graph. The nodes of the tree display the start value or starting value, various intermediate states, and the final state. Okay. So this is level wise. I'll just give you one example. Okay, I'll take one tree. Okay, so this is a level wise. It is breadth first. Okay, it is breadth first search. That means it is the traversing through the tree is level wise. That means, so it will go like this. It will come back. Next, this is the way it goes. Then it will come back. Third, this is how it goes. Okay, so this is breadth wise. Breadth wise. First it will cover the first level, then it will go to the next level, then it go to the third level. This is how it does the traversing. Okay, I'll go to next slide. Okay, so here I have just written the steps. But before that, I will just explain. Some of you may be knowing about trees and graphs. I don't know how many of you know about trees and graphs, but just for a basic understanding, I will. I have put one slide here so that your basic idea, you will have the basic idea about the trees and graphs. This is normally, these are the data structures. If you have studied data structures, definitely you would have studied these trees and graphs. Okay, data structures and algorithms. Some of you had, I think, elective last in fourth semester, open elective. If you have studied this data structures and algorithms, you would have studied this. Okay, now coming to the tree. Okay, this is the simple representation of a tree. We call this is a root node. Okay, this is the root node. Then all these nodes, whatever we represent, okay, this is the first level, this is second level, third level. So here, see, what normally we do is in this structure, data are organized in a hierarchical manner. Okay. So normally number of subtrees of a node, we call it as degree of A here 2, degree of B 2, degree of C 2, like that. Okay, degree of C 1, like that. So here these are the these B C D E F, these are the leaf nodes. This we normally call it as leaf nodes. Okay, similarly we call B and C, okay, they are the, I mean, the child nodes of A. Okay, and A is the parent node. Then we say B and C are the siblings. Okay, and A is the grandparent of A. All these terminologies we have, but you don't worry about that. So what you must know is the, know is the root node, okay, the child node, or the different vertices, and what is the level. So level 1 to level 3. Okay. This is about a tree. I'm not discussing any binary tree here. Okay, it's a simple tree I am discussing, because this is what we are going to use. Then coming to another structure, that is graph. Okay, so here similar to a tree, we represent a graph. See, this is a simple graph with 4 vertices. Okay, A, B, C, D. Now this we call it as vertices, A, B, C, D, and this is edge. Okay, this is edge. And one important thing in graphs is the graphs may be directed or undirected. Okay, so if there is a direction from A to B, or B to C, or C to A, or D to C, something like this, if you see arrow, then we call it as directed graph. Okay, if you don't see any arrow, then it will become undirected graph. Okay, So it is actually, if you ask me here, if it is undirected, it is very easy to use your these algorithms. Okay, if it is undirected. If it is directed, then slightly we have to think about the adjacency matrix. We have to draw the adjacency matrix. This adjacency matrix will help us, okay, how to do DFS or BFS. I'll just tell you about this adjacency matrix, how we can draw this. Okay, see here, I am now, let me consider this undirected graph. So you just mark the vertices A, B, C, D. Here also you mark A, B, C, D. Okay, how? Okay, A vertex, how it is connected? It is connected to what is the adjacency, like that you have to, the adjacent vertices you have to write. A is connected to B and C. So wherever B and C is there, you put 1, the remaining you put 0, okay? Then for B here, A and D are connected. For A and D are 1, this is 0. For C, A and D, for C, A and D, it is 1, the remaining 2, 0. For D, B and C, for D, B and C, 1. Suppose instead of this, if you have a directed matrix, then that I'll just try. Suppose you have a directed matrix. I'll give an example. Then suppose say you have A, B, C. Okay. Now when you are writing the adjacency matrix A, B, C. So here for A it is B. Only here it is 1. Okay, the remaining 0. For B it is C. This is 1. For C it is A is 1. Like this you have to represent. Okay. So that's what I told. When you don't have direction, okay, when it is not there, you will find 2 1s here, B and C, because say A is connected to B as well as C. But when you see directed, when there is an arrow, so A to B only. It is not A to C, like that. Okay. So this adjacency matrix will help you when you are doing the this DFS or BFS algorithm, when you're analyzing, that is required. Okay. Now I'll go to next slide. I'll take one example and explain you BFS. I hope all of you are. Let me see what is the class count now. Only 37. Okay. So only 37 students are there. I don't know about other students. Okay. Now I am in the BFS slide. I hope all of you are able to see this. I'm taking one example and explaining BFS algorithm. Okay. First, I'll explain how given any graph, okay, given any graph, how we can write the result, or how we can get the BFS of a particular vertex. Okay. I think all of you can take down this graph. It will be easy if you can analyze it. You can do along with me. Okay, you can do along with me. Just take down this simple example. I'll give you 2 minutes time. You can take down this.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, will you share the slides?
What do you mean? I didn't understand your question.
Ma'am, like these slides you're using, so will you share these slides with
No,
us?
it's already there in the recordings, no? That is not sufficient.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
No, if you want, I'll give. No problem. I
Ma'am,
can.
it would be better if you can give.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am, it's
okay.
better if you give.
Okay. I will send you. I'll post it in this Teams itself. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Fine. Okay. Now let me explain you. I hope you have taken down this graph. This is undirected. I have not put any arrows here. Okay. It will be simple. As I said, it will be simple. I'll just tell you the steps. So, how does this BFS algorithm, breadth first search algorithm, work? So, one thing is you must remember that BFS makes use of Q. Okay. So, here you must know the principle of Q. I hope you know that Q is, what is the basic principle of Q? Anybody? Basic principle of Q. Any one
Ma'am,
of you?
first come and first go.
Yes, it is first in, first out. This is very important. Okay, just keep in your mind, it is first in, first out. So whenever you have confusion, okay, just think about the bank counter. Okay, so bank counter, suppose a person wants to say he wants to pay say the what is called fill some challan, or he wants to take some money or whatever it is. Normally what he does in a bank counter, they will go and stand, the first person, then second person, third person, like that. So first person who has come, he goes out first. Okay, this is first in, first out. That is why it is easy to remember a bank, that cash counter or whatever it is. If you keep in your mind, no, you will never forget. Okay, now so first in, first out principle. Okay, now let me just tell you the steps. What is the first step? Push the root node in the queue. Okay, first is root node or the initial state you will be given. You have to push that root node in the queue. That is the first step. What is the second step? You have to loop until the queue is empty. Okay, then third step is remove the node from the queue. And fourth step is, if the removed node has unvisited child nodes, if the removed node has unvisited child nodes, mark them as visited and insert the unvisited child in the queue. If I tell like this, I know you will not understand. So I will just do step by step, then only it will be clear. Okay. So now my question is, I am finding out BFS of 0. BFS of 0 means I am going to find the traversal. Please note, I am going to find the traversal starting from root node. Root node is 0 now. Okay, I can give BFS of 1, I can give BFS of 5 or 2 or 3 or 4, 6. So whatever I mention here, that is the root node. Okay, that you must know. So that means you have to start the traversal from that particular node. Okay. Sometimes goal node will be mentioned, or simply you will be asked to do the BFS traversal starting from the root node. Okay. So now root node is 0. So first what you have to do is push the root node in the queue. So first step, this is my queue. I will just push 0 here. Okay. This is my first node. Push the root node in the queue. Now here I have one result I am writing. Result is basically the traversal. Okay. So the now what you have to do, just see, once you push this 0, you check whether the loop, the queue is empty or not. No, it is not empty. So 0 is there in the queue. Then remove the node from the queue. Now you remove 0. Okay, you remove 0. So that 0 when you remove, you will write it here. That means it is a starting node. You are starting the traversal from 0th node. Okay, that is the actually remove the node from the queue is, it is now third step. Now if the removed node has unvisited child nodes, mark them as visited. Now see the root node here, this is 0. Okay, I'll mark this. So this is the root node. Now, does it have unvisited child node? Yes, it has. Which are they? It has 1 and 3. These are the child nodes of this. Okay, 1 and 3, or is connected to, if you have the adjacency matrix here, then 1 and 3, it is the adjacency in the adjacency matrix corresponding to 0. You will have 1 for 1 and 3. Now what you do is you fill the queue with the 1 and 3. Okay, you fill that actually what we are doing is we are entering the second level here in the queue. Okay, that is actually the meaning. Now, okay, all the 4 steps are over. Now, okay, now next step is you check for whether Q, this is, see, actually 0 is, I have already taken out. So I have this, I'll remove. 0 has come out because first in, first out. 0 has come out. That 0 is here. Now 1. Okay. So you have to remove this one. This has to come out of the queue. So I'll write this here. Okay. So this I will just cancel like this. Okay. So now this is already now considered. 0 is 1 is considered. So when I marked this as the visited node, please note, when I have marked this as visited node and when I have cancelled this here, when I have written it in the result node, now what you have to do is the 4th step what you told, okay, what I told. If the removed node has unvisited child nodes, mark them as visited and insert the unvisited child in the queue. So now corresponding to 1, what are the child nodes? So corresponding to 1, the child nodes are 3, 2, 5. I'll write here 0, 3, 2, 5, 6. Am I right? The child nodes of 1, is it 0, 3, 2, 5, 6? Am I right? Any one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The child nodes of 1. Why I am considering 1? Because I am removing 1 from the queue. I am writing it here. That is my in the reversal BFS traversal. That is the second point for me. Second step by rather. Okay. Out of 0, 3, 2, 5, 6, 0 I should not consider because it is already visited. Then what is coming? 3, 2, 5, 6. But 3 is already entered. So I have to now write 2, 5, 6. That means 2, 5, 6 will enter the queue. This is how queue enters. They enter the queue. Now what I have to do? Now remove the node from the queue. Now I have to remove 3. So 3 has to be removed. Okay. So 3 will come here. Okay. So 3 I will mark it as it is visited. 3 is already visited now. Okay. So what is the next step? When I say 3 is visited, then so now I have to find out unvisited child nodes of 3. Which are the unvisited child nodes of 3? Now first I'll write what are the child nodes of 3. So if I had written adjacency matrix, it would have been very easy. So here 4, then 2, then 1, then 0. These are the child nodes of 3. Out of 3, 4 to 1, 0. 0, 1 I should not consider because it's already visited. 4, 2 will come, but 2 is already in the queue. So next one entry in the queue is 4. Okay. Then now what is the next step? Next step is you have to remove the node from the queue. Next, remove 2. So that 2 will come here. Okay, so that I will mark 2. 2 I will mark. So this I will 3 I'll cancel. It has already come out. Okay. So now when I 2 is removed, okay, Now what I have to do? Find out the unvisited child nodes. Okay. What are the child nodes of 2? I have 4, no 3, 4, 6, 3, 4, 6 is not there. Sorry. 3, 4, 5, and 1. These are the child nodes of 2. So out of this, 3 is visited, 4 is already in the queue, 5 is already in the queue, 1 is already visited. What should I do now? Okay, because I don't have any unvisited child. So the loop will continue now. Okay, the loop will continue. So after 0, 1, 3, 2, now I don't have to enter anything here in the queue because I don't have any unvisited adjacent vertices of this particular vertex. So what I'll do next, I'll remove this 5. So I'll just cancel this here. I'll mark this 5 is my node which is visited. Okay, so here I will write 5, 0, 1, 3, 2, 5. I'll write here. Okay, so 0, 1, 3, 2, 5. So now after that, what I have to do for this particular 5? What are the adjacency vertices? It is 1 and 2. Just check for 1 and 2. 1 and 2 both are already visited, so you don't have to enter here. Okay, then what you do? Remove 6 out. Okay, 6 has come out. So I'll write here 6. Then I'll indicate that 6 is already visited. Okay, what are the child nodes of this 6? I have 1 and 4. 1 is already visited. 4 is already in the queue, so I don't have to enter anything in the queue. Okay, then I will take 4 out, so 4 will come out. So this is the entry 4, and this will be colored 4. Okay, so here 4. Again here, what are the child nodes? 3, 2, 6, which are already covered. So 0, 1, 3, 2, 5, 6, 4. This is the breadth first search of started with the vertex 0. We have got 0, 1, 3, 2, 5, 6, 4. How we have moved? So 0, then okay 0, then 1 from here like this, then 1 to 3. This is how we can come. Okay, so second level actually. Then 3 we have gone to 2, 2 to 5. Okay, 5 to 6, 6 to 4. This is how we have traversed. One important thing is BFS 0 when I have given, please note that this is not the only solution. This is one of the valid BFS. I can write this. This is one of the valid BFSs of 0, because here while writing after that, say you I have written 1 3. Some of you may write 3 1. So the order may change. After that, we write, say for example 2 5 6. You may write 5 2 6 or 6 5 2. So the order changes. But please note that the level will be same. That same level will be maintained. So breadth for first search when I said, so that level from 0 level to 1 level, 1 to second level, third level, that will be maintained even if this has say n number of levels. Level maybe, this is the simple example if I have taken. Okay, see normally what happens when you see any textbooks or any papers, they would have considered some complex problems of multiple n number of city Okay, Romania, the state Romania said how the different cities are there, how they have used this search there, or maybe in the US also, so many cities, so many states, they have how it can be connected using BFS. All these things they might have used. Okay, here I have just taken simple 7 vertex graph. Okay, and I have explained how we can do BFS for a simple graph or tree. Let me just go back to this where I have written the step. Okay, these are the steps which I told. So visits, I'll just tell once again, visits level by level. Okay, it is visits level by level. So uses Q, first in, first out principle. Push the root node in the queue first step, then loop until the queue is empty. Remove node from the queue. If the removed node has unvisited child nodes, mark them as visited and insert the unvisited child in the queue. These 4 steps, if you clearly follow, you will get the solution. Okay. Any doubts, anybody? Say, when I ask you people, any doubts, anybody, I only 2 things, yes or no. Either you have understood fully or you have not understood anything. What to conclude from my side, whether you have understood or not? Hmm? No answer?
No doubts, ma'am.
No doubts. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Hope
Yes,
you people are not sleeping. Hmm? What is the answer? Hope you people are not sleeping. Yes or no?
not sleeping well.
Not sleeping. Okay,
No.
I'll just take 1-2 minutes break. I'll ask you a few questions. Okay, how is this semester? How is your 6th semester?
Going good, ma'am.
Going good. Very good. Is it Shivam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What about others?
It's good, ma'am.
Huh? Good.
Yes, ma'am.
So you people are happy with your subjects, labs and all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. What Shreyas Sinha, your doubt, while visiting one, okay, while visiting one, why didn't we consider 3 as its neighbor and enter into the queue? We have entered into the queue, no, that one. Shreyas, when we are in one, see here, when we have visited one, 3, what are the adjacent vertices of the one? 3, 2, 5. Please see, Shreyas, adjacent vertices are 3, 2, 5. Okay, so this see 3, 2, 5 we have put. When you have taken 1 out, 3, 2, 5 have been put here. The order may be anything, no? I have told it may be 3 to 5 or it may be 2, 5, 3. Okay, 3 to I think 3 to 5, 6. We have entered these 4. 3, 1 second. 3, 2, 5, 6. The order may be anything. Okay, it may be 5 to 5 to 6, 3. 6, 5, 2, 3. Only thing is we have not put 0 because 0 is already visited. Shreyas Sinha, what is your doubt? Is it clear whatever you have asked? Okay, any other doubts we will discuss later. I will go to next part. Okay, this is the algorithm which I have written. If you want, because algorithmic way, if you are analyzing, this is the algorithm which I have written for the BFS. Since I am sharing the slides, I will not explain this. It is same thing. Whenever, wherever, whichever I am in entering the queue, I have used NQ here. Okay, so this is I have used one reached matrix. Okay, then I have used NQV. Then check for Q is not empty, then delete a vertex from Q. Okay, then the W, let it be W. So W will be displayed. Then each vertex adjacent from U. So if it is unreached, then reached U, we are making it 1, and we are going to NQ that U. Okay, this you can see later if you want. But the approach I have told. Any doubts? Okay, Shreyas, you put one more doubt that I'll discuss later. Okay, the graph can have duplicates also. We will see that. Duplicates in the sense, see, this problem you can solve it if you write the adjacency matrix, no? Then you will not have any problem at all. Okay, even if wherever that one comes in the adjacency matrix, you have to just make use of that. Okay. Yes. Now I'm going to next slide. Before I go to depth first search, I am just telling you the advantages and disadvantages. In this procedure, at any way, it will find goal. This is important things. So any node you mention goal, it will find the node. Okay, goal node. It does not follow a single unfruitful path for a long time. Okay, for a long time, that means the simple words, if I tell this, there is no like we normally call it as infinite loop, right? So there is no infinite loop cases in this example, I mean in this algorithm. It finds the minimal solution in case of multiple paths. Okay, it will give you minimum solution in case of multiple paths. What are the disadvantages? Of course, large memory space. This is one point. Time complexity is also more. Okay. So it also has long pathways when all the paths to a destination are on approximately the same search depth. This you need not worry about. Third point. Okay. Only space complexity and time complexity are the two issues whenever we discuss the breadth first search algorithm. Now, with this explanation, I will go to the next one, that is depth first search. Okay, this is also slide. It's also interesting if you understand. It's very simple. Okay, I'll just explain first, then I will take one example and tell you how to do depth first search. There is a slight difference between breadth first search and depth first search. Okay, so here, what is the difference? Instead of probing the width, one branch of a tree can be explored until the solution is found. That means, suppose if you say you have a tree, something like this, what has happened here in case of BFS, you went like this, then you went like this, then you came back, went like this. This is how you have analyzed breadth first search. But here, in case of depth first search, what you are doing is, you are going in this way. Okay, you are going in this way, not level wise. It is not after this level, it is not this level. So you take one, you go to the child of that particular node, then you go to the next child of that, like this. Okay, one branch of tree can be, see, this is one branch of tree. Okay, in this particular tree, like this, one branch of tree, until the solution is found. Also, it might be decided to terminate the search due to the reason of it either not meeting the dead end or encountering some previous state, or might be because the process becomes longer than the set time limit. There may be such cases whenever we do depth first search. There may be sometimes we may have to terminate it. Okay. So after we terminate, what we do is we do backtracking. Backtracking means one step back we go. Okay. Suppose you are here, Backtracking means you come to know that there is further you can't go. Okay, you can't go to next step, you can't go. So what you need to do is you have to come back. Then again you have to check. Okay, again you have to take. Say for example, suppose wait, say you have come like this, you have come like this, you have come. So when you come to know here, you have realized that next step you can't take. Then what you do, you come one step back. Then after that you start exploring. Okay, does it have any other child? Then you go like this. So one step back you go and do backtracking. Okay. Okay. So backtracking. So this is here. A fresh search will be performed on some other branch of the tree, repeating the process until the goal state is reached. DFS always expand one of the nodes at the deepest level of the tree. Okay. Once the search hits the dead end, that is the null goal node with no expansion, the backtracks technique starts at the shallow over level and starts same thing, say second point only. Okay. So I'll take example. So all of you can take down this. Take down this example. Same graph I'm considering. Okay, let me explain. Okay, it's also very interesting. Please don't sleep. Okay, so it makes use of stack. Okay, it makes use of stack. So what is the basic principle of stack? All of you know, right? All of you know the basic principle of stack. What is it?
LIFO.
Yes, LIFO. Very good. So the basic principle is last in, first out. Okay. Yeah, now let us start. Steps I have not written, but I will, when I explain this, I will tell you, okay? So first what you do is, again here it is marked DFS of 0. So that 0 is the root node, as I have told in the previous example. So DFS of any node may be marked, and the graph, if you are given a graph, it may be directed or undirected, okay? Since undirected graphs, it is simple. That's why I have taken. If you want, we will take a directed graph also. We'll take some example and we will do it. Another thing is, whenever you have confusion with the graphs, now what you do is you draw the adjacency matrix. Just follow that adjacency matrix. Wherever you have put 1, you proceed, you will get the final answer. Okay. So now what I'll do is, so root node, that first root node in stack. So here I have put in the stack this 0. Root node is put in the stack. Okay. Now, after you put the root node in the stack, any of, okay, in the result also, because I'm starting with 0, whatever that I have put, no, here I'll write. This is the result, DFS of 0. That is, we have to display it now. So any of adjacent vertex or in the adjacency matrix, wherever you have 1, no, any of, I'm repeating it, any of them, okay, you put it in the stack. So here you know that in this, for this particular root node, we have 3 and 1, okay, we have 3 and 1. So you can put any one, okay, not both. Here, no, you're not going to put both. So I will put 1 here, any one, okay. Any one of this, you have to put it in stack. Now what you have to do, the one which you have put, you have to put it in result or for displaying or put it for the displaying or printing, that is what is DFS of 0 if it is asked. Okay, so 0, comma 1, whichever vertex goes to the stack, that will also come here. You have to mark it. Okay, 1 you have to put it in the stack. After that, so you have put 1. Next, what we have to do? So here we have, for this particular one, we have, okay, this I'll mark 0. 0 is put, 1 is put now. So for 1, we have 3, 2, 6, 5. Okay. In out of these are the what unvisited adjacent vertices. Okay. So for this one, 3, I'll write here 3, 2, 5, 6. These are the unvisited adjacent vertices. Out of this, you can take any one. Okay. So you put it in stack. I'll take 3. Okay. I'll write here 3. So you may ask me later, why 3? Why not 2? Why not 5? So I am taking here 3. So this I have marked, it is now visited now. So here in my this also print 3. Okay, so 0, 1, 3 is printed. Now for this 3, use which are the unvisited adjacent vertices? 4, 2, 1, 0. Okay, 4, 2, 1, 0. One thing I would like to tell you people, that if this was directed graph, then you may not get these many adjacent vertices. Okay, it will reduce. It may be 50% normally. Okay, that is the difference. So out of this 4, 2, 1, 0, what I will do is I will take say 2. I will take 2. Okay. Now after that 2, for this I will write, for we have 3, 4, 5, 1. So which are we have to find see only unvisited adjacent vertices, unvisited. So here after this 3, 4, 5 I can write, 4 I can write. So I will write 4. Again, you may ask me, why not 5? You can write, okay, any one, but not both. Okay, 0. So 3, 2, here I have to write 4. Okay, so I'll mark this. Okay, so now after 4, okay, we have here, I'll write which are they. For 4, we have 3, 2, 6. Of course, it is 6. Okay, so I will put 6 here. 1 second, I'll complete this stack. Okay, so 6 has come now here. 6 is now visited. So 0, 1, 3, 2, 4, 6. 0, 1, 3, 2, 4, 6. 0, 1, 3, 2, 4. I should write 6 here. Okay, now I have come to 6. After 6, you mark here which are the adjacent vertices. It is here 4, 1. But 1, 4 both are visited. I cannot. The problem comes now. Okay, let me repeat. After I reach the state 6, now when I check the unvisited adjacent vertices, I am not finding any. Okay, because for the corresponding 6, I have 1 and 4, but both are visited. Now what I have to do is, okay, since no unvisited adjacent vertices, I have to do backtracking. Okay, now we have to do backtracking. Why we have to do backtracking? We have to see, is there any uh, by going one step back, is there any possible way to traverse to the other node so that we can have the DFS of 0 complete? Okay, so that we can have DFS of 0 complete. So go to one step down. Go to one step down is what you have to do is you have to pop 6. So you know that whenever I am using stack operation, I did not ask you people. You are all you have studied this. So push and pop operations you have used. So we have been pushing this. Okay, push 0, push. This is stack. Okay. Now when I do backtracking, I have to pop. Okay. Now first last. Last in was 6. Now that has to be popped out. Okay, pop 6. So when pop 6 I did, I'll just use this eraser to pop it out. Okay, here. So this there was 4. Okay, you have come to, I have popped out 6. Now you have 4 here. You check any unvisited vertices at 4. You check for any unvisited vertices. Do we have? We know that it was 3 to 6, but all 3 to 6 are visited. We do not have. Next step, what you do? Again, you do pop 4. Okay. So I'll take eraser. I will erase this. Okay. Now what is it there in the top of the stack? We have 2. Okay. Now here check for any unvisited here. 3, 4, 5, 1. Of course, now we have 1. Which one? 5 is unvisited. Correct. So what you do? You push 5. You push 5 here. Okay, so right here 5, make this visited. Okay, now next what you have to do, you have to, after this again you have to do one step back. You do pop 5, check for anything unvisited adjacent vertices. Do you have? Just check that. Remove this. Do you have anything? No. Then next you do pop 2. Next step, you do pop 2. Check for any unvisited vertices. Okay. Then next step is there any check? No. Then you do pop 3. Then you do pop 1. Then you do pop 0. Okay. So till you get the complete DFS, you will be popping it all the elements one by one, because this is what is called backtracking, and finally you get the final answer of for the given problem. Okay, this is called depth first search. So what we have done here, we have gone, see, we have gone from 0 to 1. We have gone from 0 to 1. Then from, okay, we have gone to 0, 1, then 3, then 2, then 4, then 6, then 5. So please note this here for this problem I have considered that is undirected. The solution is complete, but sometimes normally when you have directed graphs, because if there is a here undirected means what? Say you have city from we have Manipal to Udupi, we can go Udupi to Manipal, we can come. Okay, two-way. Whereas if certain places, if there is only unidirectional path, from here to some place we can go. Okay, you can't come back. Under such cases, it so happens that DFS will not give you complete solution and you may get stuck in infinite loop. Okay, that is the main drawback of DFS. So this is the algorithm I have written. the code I have written and steps I have written. So how you can do it's very simple, just 2 or 3 steps only. Only thing is here I have used recursion. Using recursion, DFS will be very simple. So every time it calls, I hope you know recursion. But still, if you some of you if you don't know what recursion is in data structures, just for your understanding, I am telling. Recursion is we are calling that again and again because see, just example I have put here. If you want to do say 5 factorial, then you can do it as 5 into 4 factorial, or you can do it 4 into 3 factorial, or you can do it 3 into 2 factorial, 2 into 1 factorial, like that. So by 1 into 0 factorial. So back it is like this, it gives you the answer. That's why I'm using recursion. I have written the algorithm. If you are interested, I mean, you will understand this anyhow, but if you are not understanding, I can explain you later. Anyhow, the basic basic idea of the DFS is it is simple. First, what you do, you root node, you put it in stack. Okay. Then, I mean, you can do in a better way. If I'm telling you, push the root node in stack, then any one adjacent vertex you have to push into stack. Okay, any one, like that you should continue. Okay, then once if it is going to be, I mean, it is terminated, come back to one step back by popping the last element. Okay, then try to get the unvisited adjacent vertices and you complete the graph. This is about DFS. Okay, now coming to the advantages and disadvantages. DFS requires, compared to this one, BFS, it requires less memory. Okay, because only the nodes to the current path are stored. You are not going to store both. You are one by one you are doing. In case DFS might also find a solution without examining much of the search space, decreasing the amount of time associated. That means space complexity and time complexity comparatively, it is better compared to BFS. But the disadvantages is, as I have told, it may get trapped by following a single unfaithful path, which might terminate in a state which has no successors. It may not be complete. Sometimes the solution what you get, it may not be complete. Okay, you may get stuck. Okay, and also no minimum solution is guaranteed. Sometimes, not always. This is about the depth first search. Then one more, I hope all of you have understood BFS and DFS. What I do is, we have some 15 minutes more. I'll give you 2 problems. You can try afterwards. Okay, I'll try to finish whatever I wanted to do. What is the basic difference between BFS and DFS? I'll just summarize it. Data structure used is in BFS it is queue, whereas in DFS it is stack. Okay. Normal operation, we when it is queue we enqueue it. When in case of stack we push it. Okay. Memory consumption, in case of BFS it is inefficient, whereas DFS it is considered to be efficient. Structure of the constructed tree, it is wide and short, whereas DFS it is narrow and long because you go deeper and deeper. Traversing fashion is level wise, whereas here it is depth wise. Optimality, it is used for finding the shortest distance, not in terms of cost. But DFS is also not optimal because you may get stuck. Infinite loop chances are there. It may not give you complete solution. Okay. So I just 2 questions I have put here for your. So if you are sleeping, please get up and see this 2 questions. Which normally we ask in AI, what is meant by search algorithm optimality? Okay. So what is that word we use, optimality? If a search algorithm is optimal, then when it finds a solution, it gives you the best solution. Okay. Then only we say the search algorithm is optimal. Any search algorithm you use, we say optimal when it gives the best solution. Okay, compared to other techniques. Okay, what is BFS is complete difference, basic difference or advantage, and optimal, while DFS is not guaranteed to hold when there are loops. Okay. Next comes uniform cost and bidirectional. This I'll explain later. Before that, I will one quiz I want to conduct. Okay, we hope you are ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, 1 second. I'll give you the link. Yes, take 5 minutes. Answers the questions. Okay. It is close at 3:15. You have 6 minutes time.
Ma'am, who have submitted the quiz, can they leave?
No. Just I have five more minutes to discuss.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, before I conclude, these two I wanted to do, that is uniform cause search and bidirectional search. Today itself I wanted to complete it because last Saturday I could not take class because of some other assignments. It's okay, next week I'll take. So just take down this problem, all of you. I have given you given here a directed graph. Okay, just try to find out BFS 3 and DFS 3. You come with the answer. I'll ask you in my next class. Okay, here what you do, you write the adjacency matrix. Then it will be easy to find the solution. Okay, please take down this. Determine BFS of 3 and DFS of 3 for the graph shown. Okay, is it over? Hmm? Is it over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One more problem I'll give you. Take down this also. This problem I got it from a competitive exam. Okay. Consider the search problem represented below, where A is the start node and F is the goal node. Would you prefer DFS or BFS for this problem? Why? You have to justify, okay? I think it's from a GATE question. So, given this problem, which one would you prefer, DFS or BFS? You have to justify it. So here I think you can just try DFS and BFS and okay. So with this, today's class is over. We'll take attendance. 1 second. Class strength is 40, but quiz attempted by only 30 students. That means 10 students are sleeping, right? They don't know that I have given the quiz, right? So because that the quiz hardly takes 2 to 3 minutes because all everything was discussed in the class. So if they were awake, they would have definitely answered this. Am I right? Okay, fine. Okay then. So next class we will yeah.
Ma'am, please send the slides, these slides.
I'll send. Why so much hurry? We will send. Anyway, your assignment session is not announced, right?
Okay, ma'am.
I'll not send it. I'll upload in Teams. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Fine. Okay then.